The grocery store. Aisle after aisle, thousands of items in each one. But have you ever stopped to think about all those items you pass by and just simply never have tried? Maybe it's because you grew up never eating it, or maybe it's because you think it's going to be gross. Well, I've asked two of my best friends to come up with a list each of items that they've never tried. We put those lists together and we found common items. And on this show, they're going to try them for the very first time. This is Trial and Error. Okay, well, Leigh, Mike, welcome to the show, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Maybe before we get started and into today's item, you can give everybody a little bit of a background on the food you do like and, more importantly, maybe the things you do avoid.
Well, in general, I love food. I love to eat it. I like to make it. I'm kind of new to that, but I really enjoy it. And my wife is a phenomenal cook, so I'm pretty lucky there. Growing up, I wasn't too picky, but there were just things that I just weren't a part of my diet, just through weird happenstance. Like salad, for instance. It wasn't until I was in my 20s when I would be eating salad regularly, so that's kind of weird. And also, I don't like cheese, and that's a weird one. And most of the foods I liked when I was a kid, I've learned to like now. Cheese is one I cannot get over. So,
Okay, very uncommon, but...
yeah, it's a tough one.
Okay. Mike?
Yeah, so growing up, for sure, picky child. I remember not liking onions for a long time, and so much so, if my mom was making a meal that had onions in it, I would make her make a separate meal, like an onion-free version that I could handle. I could smell it from a mile away, kind of thing. So now, I mean, I've gotten a lot better. I'll put onions in food I'm making, but like raw onions or like certain things, like it's like a texture just of things, like tomatoes. Like I'll eat tomato-based things, but like I'd sooner eat, I don't know, I'd sooner lick the floor than like bite into a tomato. Like I don't know. So anyway, a lot of it's, for me, mind over matter, like things that I think are just going to be gross and like trigger like a response in me that I'll react to, not necessarily how it tastes, but yeah. Anyway.
So I feel as long as we don't have cheese under here, this show is going to be a little more difficult for Mike than for you. That's what I'm getting.
It could be
more than likely.
Yeah. Because every episode we're going to have something different. Something neither of them have had, but something that they're going to try for the first time together. Okay guys, let's get to today's food item. It is sardines.
No.
Salty. Well, in this case in spring water, but probably still very salty little fish. And what we've got is a special segment called Culinary Confessionals, where each of the two guys here are going to give their preliminary thoughts before they dive in.
Sardines, huh? Well, these have been sitting on my kitchen counter since the summer. We were using them to lure our cat back inside. And they worked on him, so they were good enough for Kevin the cat. To me, these seem kind of like an outdated food item. You don't really hear too much about them anymore. It calls to mind a scene from everyone's favorite Tom Hanks movie, The Burbs, where he eats one sort of under duress, and he kind of crams it into his gullet, and it didn't look too pleasurable eating experience. But I want to try these. I'm curious.
I think my biggest obstacle here is just going to be if it's head and tail intact, like one solid unit. I think that's going to be a bit of a weird thing to put in, like the entire body of a fish into my mouth. I think that's gross. I don't fault myself having never tried sardines because I can't think of a real situation in modern cuisine where you would even eat sardines. So I'm optimistic that at the very least I'll just think it's tolerable. I don't think I'm going to react to it in any kind of a weird way. But to me it just feels like a military ration from World War I, something you would eat on the battlefield because it's all you had and it lasts forever kind of deal. So I don't know. Cautiously optimistic, I'll say.
Okay, guys, so we've heard your thoughts before you've eaten it, but now's the time to chow down.
I'll
Right.
skip that.
I don't know if I want to do this like the whole thing in my mouth or cut this in half. I normally don't. Okay, I'm gonna go like bite for bite with you here.
Bite for bite, here we go.
You know what? It's not bad. Very fishy.
Yeah.
The lemon helps. It's an enhancement. I've eaten fish like this before, not a sardine, but some.
Mike's reaction
Mike's
is a
face
little bit different.
Go on.
It's fishy as hell.
Yeah.
Like this is.
As soon as this is something we should say. As soon as we open the tin, it's a waft. And
Yeah.
because they're in spring water, I mean, some of the sardines you see at the grocery store, they come in olive oil and maybe some already seasoned with some herbs or something. This is pretty much straight up. As basic as you can get. That's why we added the lemon, a little bit of salt and pepper. But it's still pretty basic, so.
I can't remember the kind of fish I had that was like this when I was a kid.
Yeah.
It was. I think it was literally something we fished out of the lake where our cottage was. This is why children don't like fish. Their parents give them this kind of stuff.
Yeah, there's like a.
Very fishy.
It's crazy. It's gnarly.
It's the initial part. Once I start chewing it, I don't mind the texture because it's kind of textured like a canned tuna or something, which I really like. It's more. Ideally, I would have taken the fish skin off of it. Yeah, not as bad as I was expecting it to be. I think I would put this in something, like if it was mixed in with something, I think it would kind of be alright, but like on its own, yeah, I don't know. It's not that bad.
Well, one of the first Google searches I did when I was looking up how to prepare or present sardines, one of the websites was offering 50 different recipes. So someone out there has really thought this through. Somebody out there is giving me all kinds of different ways to serve up sardines. If you want to now introduce this into your
50 different ways to like hide how bad it is.
Okay, well, you've done it. That's the important thing. You've done it. They've tried sardines for the first time. It only took them 40 years, but they have had sardines. Well, there you have it. Mike and Leigh have now had the sardines. And how did they rate them? Well, Leigh's given it 3 out of 5, not too bad. Mike, on the other hand, 2 out of 5. And they've actually thought even less, maybe 1 out of 5. The good thing is they don't have to have sardines ever again if they don't want to. What can they do? Cross it off the list.